Good afternoon, everybody. This is Matt, aka the Lumberjack Landlord. We are here for segment 2 with Mike Zuber from One Rental at a Time. Michael, I am actually very excited to cover this because we do things very differently. And so I think that it will cover kind of both areas that people do. So what I'm talking about today with you is tax preparation. It's that lovely time of year.
Oh, yeah. Tax preparation. Yeah. Fun.
So
lots of paperwork.
Having zero experience in working with a property manager, talk to me a little bit what your process is like, how it's kind of evolved through the years and how you kind of get ready for that, for tax season time.
Yeah, so definitely evolved over time. Again, we've had a property manager since day one, so I have zero experience self-managing, which I can only imagine the amount of paperwork. So the beauty of our process is we have always taken what is called their monthly reports, and we move them into our spreadsheets, right? So we've used the same, basically it's a big worksheet. Every page or sheet is a different property because when you are filing your taxes, your tax prepper will do it by property. Yes. So as we add properties, we just add worksheets. We copy the template. The template is the IRS tax code. I forget what Schedule E, I think it is.
It is.
All right, so we have that in the worksheet. We just copy it, make a new one when we buy a new property. So that then allows us to have a summary and then monthly expenses that roll up to that. In addition to that, our company or our property manager sends us now used to be physical copies when we started. Now we're scanned copies. So we have soft copies are saved in a hard drive of all of our taxes. So we don't actually bring paper receipts, but we have them saved by month, by year, by property in a cloud hard drive and backed up if the IRS wants them. On top of that, we still get expenses outside our properties, right? So the property manager probably in a year captures 90%, but there's always some things that we buy. Like, for example, we're control freaks, so we pay our mortgages, we pay taxes, we pay our insurance. Supplementals, which you get all the time, we pay. Occasionally we have to buy stuff here that we bring there. We run a business, so cell phone bills and office expenses and computers that we have to buy for our business. So the fact is we are pretty religious about doing a little bit of tax preparation every month, which certainly makes it easier. I think one time, we had 8 or 9 units and we tried to do it all in January and it was a disaster.
Yeah.
Disaster. So we have learned way back when, if we do about an hour monthly, maybe 90 minutes in a bad month if we're doing a couple big remodels. But again, it's about 60 minutes a month just to get ready. It is far easier come January. It's still not fun because we actually take our spreadsheet, which is very us, and then we put it in the one that our tax preparer wants. Because again, we've been doing this for 15 years. We know what he wants to see.
Sure.
So we kind of transition. And also that's the time for us to look at, hey, how'd we do? So we've tied it together, right? Every property as we're moving of every property, we look at how did it do? How did it perform? That's why we sold a triplex last year, or actually I guess it was a year before now, because it just never performed.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's required. I suggest adopting processes early. Please do not do what we did after the first 3 or 4 years and wait till January. It's a mess. Now that I've been through actually a detailed IRS audit, I can tell you I'm thankful for the process of preparing monthly. Yeah, it's a required process, and I suggest spending a little time every month versus trying to catch up at the end.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that's transitioned for us in the very beginning, we did the same thing you did, waited until January, and then that was awful. And that was I think we were probably right around the same size as you guys when we were still doing that. We were probably like 5 or 6. So we were a little bit smaller, but they were triplexes.
But yeah, you're doing self-management. So you got all of these receipts and stuff. I couldn't imagine.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful.
That's one reason I'm happy to pay a property manager, is just the process of collecting the receipts. I'm like, damn.
That really changed a lot for us in 2021. That's why we realized we have to evaluate rental management software.
Yeah,
because for years we were doing 50 and 60 units for years in Intuit Property Manager and product like that. It was decent. but it was a ton of data entry. But tax prep for us used to be about 150 to 150 hours. And
So
that was
so that's you preparing to go see the account.
yes.
Yeah.
That's literally prep of paperwork to drop off. Actually, at that time, it was about an inch stack.
Yeah.
So it was about an inch stack. And that's not the, we were never so flip about the activity that we would bring in the cigar box is what I would call it.
I hate that. Yeah.
And I mean, I've seen bills I know guys that do the cigar box thing where they just like write something on it and they toss in a box and they bring that entire box to the accountant. That bill is $8,000 to $10,000 to $12,000 when they do it that way. And they don't have nearly as many properties as we have. And so I'm just like, I couldn't write that check when I know you're just wasting time and money. So now we actually transitioned from, we used to basically spend like 3 hours every Thursday night on that stuff. And what I've actually found is that now with adding that many more properties on, it's really not even, it's not doable on that level unless you're doing it in software.
Right.
Where you can literally, when you go to do the activity, alert the tenant, create the maintenance note, whatever we're doing there, all of that workflow and process. I know that we miss things and don't take expense for things throughout the course of the year that we missed.
Yeah.
And it's one of those functions because there's times where we'll go buy product for cash.
Yeah. Oh, it happens. Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, yeah, we're blowing this stuff out and we're doing it at cost. So we're not going to take a credit card.
Right. Because they don't want to pay the fee. I've done that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They want to pay the fee. So we'll buy X number of things, for that amount. So one of the things that I think a lot of people need to recognize, holy heavens, hold on one second. One of the things I think we really need to recognize from folks, I just need to put this on mute finally. One of the things that people need to recognize really most importantly about this tax preparation is you need to be doing it steadily along the way. Number one, because that's going to get your most accurate statement. Number two is, even as important, it's also going to make sure that if something's going sideways in a building, you're going to start to see the trend.
Exactly. That is why we have always done it monthly.
Yes.
Right. Our both Olivia and I have a kind of a numbers brain, and we just had to see what was going on.
Right.
And that was our touch point. Again, remember, we had property management 2.5 hours away. In the beginning, we'd go there a couple of times a month, no question. But just the ability to sit down in the beginning, it was like a half-hour conversation over dinner, how to do what it do. Oh, shoot, we had a water heater break, whatever it is. Yeah, you've got to touch it monthly. Don't be so arrogant that you think you could do tax preparation in January. It will bite you. I would tell you to assume you're going to be audited every year. So make sure you're tight on things. I'm sure we miss stuff as well. Yeah. And again, I don't know, we probably spend 10 grand a month on property management fees. Yeah. So I've never been more thankful than hearing you talk about spending 3 hours every Thursday. I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the 3 hours that we spend together. Cause then it's like, then she goes off and she then says, okay, now I got to get all this stuff in and this stuff in and this stuff in. But that was the big push for us to finally get a property management software. Yeah. That was the big push for us.
Well, that was one of the reasons I added Himlane as one of my experts, right? Yeah. So I spoke with Dana before she created software. Yeah. I think we had 100 units or 90 units at the time. And it's fun to see what she's built over there. So software is, I mean, if I had something, I wouldn't have the Excel spreadsheets today, but now I've got 20 years of history. Yeah. It's kind of wired. So,
well, it's funny because I think so many of us start there, but now there's so many apps out there, right, that are free and on your phone, like Stessa and things like that are kind of that, entry tier stuff.
Get something for sure.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Get something, but always remember the one thing that's most important, and this is coming from a data guy, the one thing that's most important in my real life, the one thing that's most important is the ability to get the data out of the system.
Correct.
Because you will not always be on that system and you don't want them holding your data hostage. And they don't say they do, but they can just by how they make it difficult to get your data out. So run those even after you put all your information in there. Make sure that you're able to run some sort of a report that gets you all of the information that you would need. That way you're not married to them as a vendor and they can still work with you and still have a good product and still have good process. All of those things are really important, but what you really need to make sure you can do is get your data out. And I would be getting it out literally on a monthly basis, entering it all in, but then getting a report where you get it all out that way. And then at the end of the year, have a true up, one big long one, but then really put, really put that thing into perspective and make sure that you're doing the right things along that process. That way you're not stuck with them holding to your data.
Agreed.
So Mike, where can everybody find you, my friend?
One rental at a time. Website, YouTube channel, Instagram, books, courses, all good stuff.
Excellent. We always try and create good content for you. Please subscribe, hit the like button. Love to have you guys hang out with us. Also, Sunday mornings, we have Mr. and Mrs. Lumberjack, 8 p.m. Eastern time and 11:30 a.m. Eastern time on Sundays. I do about 3 hours. We'll be doing it again this Sunday. Just hanging out, answering questions, and it's a good time. And what's really cool now is there's so many people that are so experienced that a lot of them can answer a lot of other folks' questions.
It's amazing what we're building. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's Garth Brooks always said his favorite part was when he would have the audience singing his song that he wrote back to him. He said that's the best part of it as an artist. And so for us, that's kind of what we see in some cases when we're seeing them use some of the calculations and see them doing some of the things that they're doing. It's the ultimate flattery, but it also helps us keep going because frankly, we don't do this for the money.
Yeah, God. Yeah. Amen to that.
It's not about that. So Mike, thanks so much for the time. Look forward to segment number 3.
You got it.